Hey, so welcome to a quick lesson on basic masking techniques featuring the new masks panel in Photoshop CS5. This will touch on a little bit of what's in that link to that Russell Brown video about the same thing. He does some really great demos on it, so I recommend you watch that. But until now, until CS5, we had been talking about making a mask and then painting out black around the mask to mask part of the image, to get rid of part of the image, essentially, even though it's still there, you just can't see it, and to paint with white to let an image show through. So I've got this picture of Sneakers the Wonder Cat, and we're going to double click on that background layer to make it a regular layer. And now that it's a regular layer, I can make a layer mask. And down in the bottom of that layers palette, or layers panel rather, is the make layer mask icon. So I'll click on that, I get a layer mask. Now with this mask in play, and you'll have to pay special attention to that highlighted layer, make sure that rather than having the image icon highlighted here, we're going to highlight the mask icon. That means we're painting on the mask. If I paint on this image, I'm destroying data. I'm painting these actual pixels black and white. If I paint on the mask, when I paint black, it will mask out, and when I paint with white, it'll show through. I've got my foreground color set to black, background set to white. Perfect. So, wow, that's a little teeny brush, and just for purposes of demonstration, we're going to get a great big giant brush, even more giant than that. A great big giant brush. That's pretty giant. So I can now paint with black, and when I'm on a layer like this one that has nothing underneath it, then when I mask out, I get this little checkerboard pattern, which means it's masking out to transparent. Now you can see the inherent problem here. Sure, I'm masking out a little vignette around the cat, but what I'd really like to do is to make a mask that will go along all those fine hairs. And this is one hairy cat, let me tell you. But here's what the mask looks like that I've painted so far. Not really what I have in mind. So let's delete that layer mask. And I'm just going to start over much in the same manner that Russell Brown did in his video. And I may even just use the regular old lasso tool, which is a big sloppy selection tool. You've got to have a good mouse hand to use this. But we'll try. And we'll make just a general selection, and we'll let Photoshop do a lot of the heavy lifting for us in terms of refining this mask. So I'll just kind of mouse around here. And there's things like little tufts on the ears on this cat image, and lots of little flyaway hair all over the place. And I'm making a very general, very sloppy selection. And we'll see why, and we'll see why we can get away with this in Photoshop CS5, because it's got a great little, very smart tool that makes up for my lack of finesse on this very sloppy lasso selection. I can kind of overlap on either side, cat or background. There we go. So there are my marching ants. Pretty lousy selection, huh? And now I can just click on my add layer mask icon, and there it is. And that gives me this mask just based on that hard edge selection. Now here's our masks panel, and that of course is available under Window. Get masks right there if you don't have it already. So we can adjust a lot of different things. We can come in and adjust the feather of that mask, but I don't really want to go there. That doesn't solve my flyaway hair problem here. Or the density of the mask, but I don't want a semi-transparent mask. I want the full thing. You know, if this had masked out the cat and left the background like so, the masks panel also has a quick little invert button, because that happens a lot. and it's nice to have a quick solution. But what I really want from this mask panel is this mask edge. Ah, there we go. Now it'll show me what that edge would look like. And I can select what's referred to as a radius here. And what that does, it takes this hard edge, and it's as if I'm going along with a selection brush tool all along this edge, and it's selecting everything within a certain radius, and it's taking a look at the pixels on this side of the selection, these gray pixels from the cat, comparing them to the sort of tan or brown pixels in the background, and determining detecting the edge detection right here. And you can do that along a certain radius, and we can even click above up in view mode to show that radius, and there it is. That's the frontier that it's identified between cat and wall, and it's done a pretty good job of it. Now if there are some areas along this selection that are more obvious than others, we can have Photoshop do what's called a smart radius, and it'll determine how, some areas could be identified as being a little thinner, some areas a little thicker. These areas where there's lots of whiskers and hair, flyaway hair, those might be a little thicker. Let's see now. I'll deselect show radius, and we'll get back to our image along the edge. Now that's looking pretty decent. Pretty decent. This, yeah, these areas, not bad. Let's pump that radius out a little bit more even. And you can kind of look and see and find the place that that picks up the detail that you need without adding in a lot of extra detail. And I think we're somewhere along in here, somewhere along in this range. And that's not bad. I could probably have gone in and made a better selection down here around the hip, or the bottom here where the legs are. But the selection in the tail and the head and so forth, that's not bad. Now I need this little tuft of ear. Let's see if we can pump that radius out and get even that. There we go. If we're going for the ear, we're cranking this radius almost to the end. Having done that, it picks up some areas we don't want. Now I'll click OK. And it has changed my selection to this, and I've got a very fuzzy selection along the edge, which is not bad. Now if I wanted to do that differently, I would probably have to go back and reselect and refine this area a little bit still, which wouldn't take me long because that selection I did was pretty awfully quick. One thing that you can do, I'm going to Command Z on here and go back to my original mask. One thing that you can do, and I did an option click to view the image again, is in the mask panel, when I'm doing mask edge, let's see, I've got smart radius. I can crank the radius all the way over. Hello. Getting a few undesirables there, but one thing that you can do is you can decontaminate colors. Now I had a sort of a tan pinkish wall here, and all kinds of weird colors in the carpet behind the cat. Those colors may kind of filter through on some of these individual hairs. And when we select decontaminate colors, what Photoshop will do, it didn't do that this time. There it goes. Yes, it did. It will typically make an additional layer. So here's my original selection. Here's my decontaminate colors mask, and here is the original mask. So I've got both. and it gives you a little bit more freedom to make some choices. Um, so that's a quick view of basic masking. And of course now with these transparent pixels in place, I could put an image behind that. I could grab either one of these layers, drag them over to a new image. The cat would be masked out over the top of some other background. And so with this, you can use this knowledge to go ahead and work on the assignment. Do check out the Russell Brown video because it's even more comprehensive with a number of other samples. So enjoy.